Well, hey everyone, welcome back to the cabin. This is Q&A Sunday. This is Q&A Sunday. What the heck is this anyway?
So you're probably wondering, what the heck is he up to now? I just thought I'd mix things up a little bit. I know a lot of people write and love the Q&As, but I also get a lot of hate mail. So it's impossible to keep everybody happy. But anyway, I just thought I'd mix it up a little bit and kind of blend like the vlog and the short clips and some Q&A together, and just kind of like have a little of this and a little of that, kind of like a weekly ramble, you know, kind of like scrambled content. Yeah, so we're gonna put this one together and see where it goes. Yep. Right now I just gotta walk Frankie. Well, hey everyone. Just putting a little marinade together this morning. Gonna let these chicken thighs marinate all day. I'm gonna cook them in the oven for a little while and then top them off on the grill. You're probably familiar with marinating meat with Italian dressing. Real simple marinade, it works wonders. We're just going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to add, I've got a couple cloves of garlic here. I'm going to mince those up. About a quarter cup of soy sauce. I'm going to throw that in. Little pinch of ginger. Those three items kind of give it a little bit of a Oriental flavor, sort of. So, I don't follow any specific recipe. I used cheap, this is Aldi's Italian dressing. I've got roughly half a bottle. Just dump that right in there. Put in the soy sauce. A little pinch of ginger in there. You don't have a garlic press. Very, very easy way to mince up garlic and fresh ginger and stuff like that. I'll put info for the marinating dish down below because these things are awesome. Much better than using a bowl or a plastic bag to do this. I've had this one for probably 30 years or so, and it's marinated a lot of meat. Yeah. All right. In the icebox it goes. A tasty supper tonight. Just bake the chicken thighs at 350 for about 45 minutes or so, and then top them off on the grill. Yes, sir. So how you guys handling this heat wave, huh? Is this nuts? It's actually 90 degrees on the mountain today. Thankfully, it cools right down at night. Every night. I don't care how hot it gets during the day, the nights are nice and cool. It's wonderful. But I was editing some video earlier because it's too hot to do anything else. And I was coming across a whole bunch of the winter scenes that I'll share with you all. Give you a little snow footage to cool you down. Enjoy. miles of all of this right outside our door. He's got ideas of his own. They're just not always good ones.
Okay, what would a Sunday be without a little Q&A? It's going to answer a few questions of the week. Are you going to put a preservative or oil stain on the cabin? I was planning on putting an oil stain, but I really like the look of old homesteads and old barns that were left to weather naturally. They just have this really cool old weathered look to them, and I think it would be a good fit for the camp. So at this point in time, I have no intentions of doing any staining. I'm just going to let it weather on its own, let Mother Nature take over. If I change my mind down the road, then I'll put some stain on it. But no worries, nothing's going to happen to this cedar. Do you still have the New York cabin? I do still have the cabin, but I do plan on putting it on the market eventually. Anyone that's familiar with that cabin, you have an interest in it, first person to bring me 65 grand can have it, and that's a heck of a deal. 23 acres of excellent hunting, it borders a farm, the deer cross that property like crazy. I've got that beautiful cabin with the beautiful meadow with the apple trees. There's 2 old campers on the land you can use for storage or whatever. I've got the workshop plus that 14 by 24 garage. Okay? Heck of a buy. If you're interested in it and you have the money, let me know. Okay? But I'm looking for a cash buyer. All right? When I put it up for sale in a year or 2, it's going to be much more money than that. All right. Have I ever gotten injured in the woods? yeah, I did. But only once. This was in, I think it was 1999. In the winter of 98, the Northeast got hammered with an ice storm. Oh, it was a bad one. Trees were down everywhere. Remember that? You guys in the East, you know what I'm talking about. It devastated the woods. So all my hunting spots weren't the same anymore because the deer patterns have changed. The trees were just down everywhere, so the deer movement changed. So I think it was in August of 99, I was out there moving all my tree stands. Now I was just wearing those tall rubber boots that really don't have any ankle support. And I was carrying 2 tree stands and a stick ladder on my shoulders, and I hunt swamp, so I was on the edge of a swamp, and my foot just went into a hole, and I collapsed straight down, like folded right up, and I heard my ankle snap. Oh! Long story short, I wasn't really that far from my house, but I had crossed a bunch of swampy stuff, walked through cattails to get to where I was, and there was no walking out. I even tried to make a crutch out of my stick ladder, but there was no walking out of there. My only transportation was crawling on my hands and knees. And this was happening around between 9 and 9:30 in the morning. And I finally crawled out to a road around 1 p.m. and I was a mess, covered with sweat, covered with mud, because I had to go through. I headed for a snowmobile trail, and the bridge was out, so I had to crawl through the water and the mud, and I was swatting at deer flies, and it was just horrible. I was just covered mess on the side of the road in my hands and knees, and somebody stopped and brought me and dropped me off at the hospital. So I had a broken ankle. But there's more to that story, because I got people ask me if I've ever had a confrontation with a bear or a moose. I did when I was hunting with a broken ankle. I'll tell you that on a different day. One more. Okay. Actually, 2 more. Someone said, I bought the little fillet knife that you showed in your last video. Can you give me some tips on keeping it sharp? This is a great little knife. It's inexpensive. All right, some tips to keep it sharp. Don't let it get dull. Okay, I'm not being a wise ass. Seriously. Get yourself a honing rod. This is an antique one with an antler handle. Been in my family for years. If you find an antique, these are great, okay? But I'll put some examples down below. I'll also put the link to this in this little knife sharpener, because people are going to ask me anyway. Okay, after you use it, give it a few licks on a honing rod. And that is all it takes. This thing's super sharp, okay? But if your knife does get dull, and you're not very good at sharpening knives, get a knife sharpener similar to this. There's tons of them on the market. They're cheap. They all work about the same. I've been using this one for a long time. I've got quite a few of these. Set it on your blade. Give it a few licks down the blade with that. Then hit it on a honing rod. I try not to let my knives get dull, because these are kind of harsh on the blade. What I mean by that is they will remove some of the blade material, okay? So you don't want to hit it with this thing all the time. But if you have a dull knife, get yourself one of these. You can do a great job and have no experience. These are wonderful, okay? And I've talked about this before. A few licks of that, then the honing rod, be in excellent shape. Also, people were asking about my mug. Is that a Frankie mug? This was a gift from one of my subscribers. He had it made a couple years ago. Got Frankie on one side and the logo of me and Frankie on the other. That was a great present. I've got some very thoughtful subscribers that send some really cool stuff.
I want to give you a little tip. If you live in an area where there's deer flies, you already know how bothersome they can be. You try and do something, once you get on the move, they just gang up on you. It's hard to even go for a walk. They take the fun right out of it. Circling like crazy, bouncing off your head, especially if you got a bald noggin like mine, drive you nuts. The solution for it? Get yourself a wide brim hat. It's as simple as that. Any hat. Straw hat, cowboy hat, you name it. This is a Tilly hat my friend Joe gave me and I love it. Give it a try. You will be surprised at what a difference it makes. Yep. They don't want to get under the brim. They might circle you a bit. They don't want to get under the brim. It's amazing. Give it a try. Come on, Frankie.
Frankie and the boss out walking in the woods, living life happy and free. Tracks in the snow everywhere they go. There's a pokey way up in that tree. A beaver built a pond where they have some fun, taking life a day at a time. Best friends until the end. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss.